Washington Commanders and the Detroit Lions, as we sit right now, and I'm just going to get this in because it's official until it's not official. The Lions are a favorite for the first time in 24 games, so this might actually go off as a pick 'em. But as of right now, they are 1-point favorites. It's dropped and dropped and dropped. It was 2.5. It was 2. Now it's down to 1.5. Now it's down to 1 at DraftKings, PointsBet, Caesars. All sitting at 1 right now. There are some 1.5 still available out there in the market if you're looking to play a teaser leg with the Commanders. Listen, I can be down on the Commanders, and I can think Carson Wentz is garbage as a player in general, and still acknowledge when the guy has a good game. Yes, there were a couple of bonehead throws. You're going to get that with Carson Wentz. That's just what he is. But overall, pretty good and pretty good game plan, I think. Like, everybody was super hyped about Curtis Samuel whenever he went over to the Commanders last year and did absolutely nothing. And then they come out this year and we're thinking, okay, he's an afterthought because they get John Dodson and whatever. And it's like, oh, never mind. It's a Curtis Samuel show all of a sudden for this Commanders team. And so, look, if they have those 3 weapons to kind of go to for Carson Wentz between Dodson and Samuel and of course, McLaurin, look, that is not a bad trio. It's not the best trio, but it's certainly not a bad trio for him to be going after. And the Detroit Lions, look, this is just what you're going to get in them like every single week, right? Like, they're not that team that gets down 17 and then just kind of quits. Like, they're going to be annoying as hell to bet against all year long. They might not win a bunch of games, but they're going to make you sweat every single time you bet against them, which is going to suck if you do want to bet against them. Adam, total of 48.5 sitting right now. There was a 47.5 here in Las Vegas in which I played the over in this game. And I'll tell you why. I think we have 2 competent offenses against 2 bad defenses. And anytime you have 2 competent offenses against 2 bad defenses, it typically leads to points. And then let me throw in the absolute bonus of the 2 quarterbacks in the competent offenses being Jared Goff and Carson Wentz, who are good for a pick 6 between one of the 2 of these sons of bitches is going to happen in this game. I promise you. So like, it is like the perfect combination, in my opinion, for an over to happen. Like, just enough offense, just enough competency on offense with just enough gunslinger to make some bad stuff happen as well. Like, this just had over written all over it to me. And the fact that it was under 49, I think this is a 49, 50, 51 type game all day long. I loved it, loved it, loved it. Perfect conditions, indoors. We don't have to worry about weather playing a factor. We're in the dome. That's my play on this one. I don't have a real thought on the side.
I love where you are with that, Matt. And I can't believe I'm going to use these words about Carson Wentz, but here it is. Better quarterback getting points, right? Mm-hmm. And Carson Wentz is the better quarterback in this game, not by a lot, but he is better than Jared Goff. He has better weapons.
Can we say less bad? I feel more comfortable with less bad.
There we go. The lesser of 2 evils, Adam. That's what we're going with.
I can't say either guy is one that I'm running to the window to be able to bet week to week. But overall, look, if you trusted my evaluation of Detroit last week, and that game played out literally exactly the way I said it was going to play out last week, where they're going to get behind huge and then they're going to come back roaring into the game the way they did against the Niners the year before. Trust my evaluation this week. This is not a team that should be favored. There's just no way I could see the Detroit Lions as a favorite. So if the 2 is out there anywhere and you want to be able to put Washington in the teaser, if you believe that Detroit can win a game by 8 or more points, God bless and Godspeed, because I do not think that's a possibility for these teams. I do think we need to look at Washington and what you mentioned, Matt, with this offense and say maybe the receivers are actually good enough that they can overcome Carson Wentz, right? That gets you into the less bad territory overall. So, yeah. I like where your head's at in terms of the over. I think I would also feel safe with Washington in a teaser leg past 7.
I agree on the teaser side of things as well. It was a strong consideration for me this week, and I'm not saying it might end up in the account anyway if there are some 1.5s or 2s still available here in Nevada. Because, I mean, Steven, when you take a look at it, the thing is the reason that the Lions aren't really built to win by more than 8 points is because even if they build a lead, which, you know, it seems like they're always playing from behind, but even if they build a lead, the defense is so bad that, like, if Carson Wentz got into a 2-minute offense and he has those 3 receivers and, like, they have to be super aggressive because they have to move the ball and go score, like, they're likely to get some sort of points on the board that would screw that would screw up them covering the teams. Like, so for me, I just don't see them built like that. But also, I think the Lions, maybe even the Commanders as well, are teams we need to look at as just kind of air quote over teams moving forward, given that it looks like the offenses are competent and the defenses are going to be like bottom 5 units.
Here's an angle to consider. Washington first quarter. Detroit was at or near the bottom in EPA and success rate first quarter last season. This goes in line with what you guys have talked about, their comeback kings. I know they scored early last week, but let's look at the bigger sample size here. And Washington's offensive coordinator, Scott Turner, top 10 last year in first quarter success rate, despite having Taylor Heineke as his quarterback. Adds Dotson, adds Curtis Samuel back into the mix. Logan Thomas is still playing a little bit. Still have Terry McLaurin out there, so very explosive. And if you watch the tape from Washington last week, what I saw was a lot of very impressive designs that was getting Carson Wentz a wide open receiver on his first read. What were our criticisms of Carson Wentz coming in? He can't get off his first read, and when he gets in, and when his first read isn't open, he makes bad mistakes and takes sacks and throws picks. Well, what if his first read is wide open? Because that's a pretty high likelihood. It was in week 1. Detroit's injury report on defense doesn't look great coming into this week. Their number 2 corner, Amani Oruwari, was fine and then downgraded to limited on Thursday with a back injury. Plus, the Lions' offensive line on the flip side looks really banged up right now. Frank Ragnow still has the groin. He now has a foot injury, back-to-back DMPs this week. They already put Vaitai on IR coming into the season, one of their starting guards. Their other guard, Jonah Jackson, downgraded from limited to DMP Wednesday to Thursday. So, yeah, I think wrong team favored here. I bet the Washington win total under coming into the year, but that was with the assumption that they were likely going to beat Jacksonville and Detroit to start the season anyway. So I think my favorite angles here, I haven't bet them yet. I'm still on the fence, but my favorite angles are Washington first quarter and then Washington team total over 23.5 or over 24.